guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Summer, and if this is your first time here, I have recently had correction lower jaw surgery, meaning I've had lower jaw surgery 2 times now. I've also had SARP surgery, so this video is going to be giving an update of how my surgery went and how recovery is going. So if you want to see this, then just keep on watching. It's day 2 of jaw surgery. I'm gonna be going home today. This time my mouth is wired shut, and he said he's gonna keep it like this for 6 weeks, so this is how I'm looking. The pain's not terrible, but as you can see, my face is super swollen, and I'm ready to go home. I keep feeling like I gotta sneeze. Anyways. So the doctor said he ended up having to break both sides, but this side he still couldn't get all the way in the right place, but he said it's almost there. My left side, which is the side that was giving us issues, and it's still not perfect, so I'm interested to see how everything's gonna look. I just really hope no more override. So I haven't had any nosebleeds. Super swollen right now, but the pain's not terrible. So I will check in when I get back home. Hey guys, I made it home. I feel a little hard breathing, hard to breathe, especially when I move around a lot and then I get out of breath. And my nose is stuffed up, and I feel like I'm not getting good breath from my mouth. Besides that, I'm doing okay, and this is my dog. I will check in a little bit. I just had a shake from cold stone, and I have to go do my homework now, so we'll check in later. Hey guys, it is day 3, and as you can tell, very swollen, extremely swollen. There's really no pain, so I can't complain about that. It's just the swollenness. I feel like I got a cough. My teeth are wired shut. But other than that, I slept well last night. It's very hard to talk. So I was told I had to keep the veins on for 6 weeks, is what I'm gonna hope, and try to talk them into taking them off at 3 or 4. I don't want this. It's so difficult to talk and eat. I don't really have an appetite right now. I'm trying not to think about food too much, but it's a little crazy how swollen I am. I look insane. Alright, I will check in later. Hey guys, it is day 5. Today is Friday. My surgery was on Monday. I did go see the surgeon today, and he's still happy with how everything's looking. He did say that the left side is a little bit lower than the right side. I guess where the jaw connects, so like in the corner. He said there's a little bit of a gap. I don't know the reason why. He also said that the screw on the left was a little bit long, so they had to cut it. And then he said he was happy that they went back in on the right side because one of the screws was actually loose. So I got my stitches out. And I have to go back in 2 weeks, and I just have to keep the wired shut at least until then. He wants to keep me in the wires for 6 weeks, but he knows around the next visit I'm probably going to be begging to take them off. So I still have no pain, which is good. Appetite has been, I guess, fine. Haven't been eating great, but I'm not like starving yet, but I know it's coming. So I did try to eat I made some cheese potato soup, and that was awful. I just don't like the texture through the syringe. It just freaks me out. So I'm gonna try mashed potatoes and gravy tomorrow, and hopefully that's better. And yogurt. I did buy some yogurt. But besides that, he just said he was happy with how everything is going. And what else did he say? He said the midline looks good. And as for like my face, I can feel the top lip. The bottom lip is still numb, and my chin is super numb as well. But I've been able to sleep. I haven't had any issues sleeping. Haven't had any nosebleeds. Brushing, I've been using a baby toothbrush and just brushing after every time I eat. But talking with your mouth wired shut is pretty difficult. So hopefully you can understand me. And I will check in with you guys later.
Alright guys, so today is January 16th, and I did have my lower jaw surgery on October 25th of 2021. Sorry it's taking me so long to get this video up. Just a little background about me. Both me and my husband work from home, and then we do have 2 smaller children, which are 5 and 7. So I do get off earlier in the day, but my husband doesn't get off until about 4:35 p.m. And during the time he's working, and the kids are at school, he's constantly taking phone calls, so you can hear the phone constantly ringing or him talking on the phone. And then when the kids get home from school, it is kind of hard to just find time to sit down where it's quiet and there's no distractions or background noise. So that is sometimes why it takes me a little bit longer to get these types of videos up. So I do apologize about that. So going into the surgery, I had my surgery on October 25th. The first surgery I had back in May, and if this is your first time here, I'll just briefly explain what happened. Basically, I had a severe overbite, so they had corrected that with lower jaw surgery. And pretty much immediately after the surgery was over, I noticed that I still had an overbite. And I had mentioned it to my surgeon multiple times, and he just told me it was part of the process and it would get better. It had to do with swelling. Well, when he finally released me back to my orthodontist, I explained to him, you know, that it still looked like I had an overbite, and he agreed that it was only about halfway fixed. So he actually reached out to my surgeon, and after the 2 of them talked, they basically came to an agreement that I did need to have a correction surgery done in order to fix the issue, because not only did I still have an overbite, but my bite was completely crooked. My jaw was kind of crooked. And it was actually worse, in my opinion, after the first surgery than before the surgery. So they did make me wait a few months before they went back in to do the correction surgery. So that's why I did not have the second surgery until October, when the first one was done in May. We had known for several months that I was going to need a correction surgery. But I think that the surgeon was just kind of waiting for things to heal before he went back in there. That's my assumption. So I was scheduled to have my surgery on October 25th. And as I mentioned in my previous videos, I did get a blood clot from the first surgery, so I've been on blood thinners. So because I'm on blood thinners, they did want to take extra precautions. So my surgeon actually had asked me to come to the hospital the day before my surgery. That way they could get my INR levels, which is basically the levels that they need to check to make sure that your blood is where it needs to be when you're on blood thinners. So anyways, so they wanted me to come in the day before, and they actually were supposed to call me when a bed was ready. So they never called me, and it was kind of like going back and forth. They weren't expecting me. Then I had to try to get a hold of the doctor and the surgery coordinator to figure out what was going on. So by the time I got all of that situated, I ended up getting like checked into my room around like 9:30 or 10 at night, and my surgery was scheduled for first thing on Monday morning. As you may or may not know, when you go to the hospital, there is a bunch of things that happen right when you get there. They'll first ask you to get changed into the gown. They'll hook you up to the monitor, whatever they need to hook up, whether it's an IV or a heart monitor in my case. They need to put the blood pressure cup on you. They also need to check your vitals and all of those things when you first get there. Also, they'll have some other person come in the room to register you or check you in, get all your insurance information. That way they know where to send the bills to. You'll meet with your nurse, and then you'll meet with the assistant that helps the nurse. It's just a bunch of stuff that happens. So by the time all of that was done, they actually had wanted to get me down to pre-surgery around 5 a.m. And they were basically in and out of my room all night. So I think I only got like an hour and a half or 2 hours of sleep the night before surgery. So it was a little crazy and chaotic, but we managed. And when I woke up from surgery, I was expecting to kind of have a similar reaction as last time, which the first surgery, I just was having really trouble like opening my eyes. I was just very, very tired from the anesthesia, which I believe is normal. People have different reactions and their bodies react a different way. But from the first surgery, I was just so tired. Like I could hear conversations that were going on in the room, like I was aware of them, but I just could not physically open my eyes. This time it was completely different. As soon as I got into my actual room, I woke up, and right off the bat, I was extremely nauseous and in pain. And I did try to tell her that because my mouth was wired shut. So the nurse had given me some pain medication and some nausea medication, and thankfully both of those worked like pretty quickly after I was complaining, because I was very worried about throwing up with my mouth being wired shut. And thank goodness that after that first dosage of whatever she gave me for both, I did not have any pain or any nausea from there on out for the rest of my recovery or my time in the hospital, which I'm very, very thankful for. So as I mentioned, my mouth was wired shut. I wasn't sure if the doctor was gonna wire my mouth shut or not. He did let me know that, you know, once they're in surgery is when they make that determination whether or not they're gonna have to wire it shut or not. But he did pre-warn me that more than likely they were going to this time around, just because they wanted to make sure everything was gonna remain the same and it was going to be stable, and that we weren't going to have to do the surgery for a third time. So I was already kind of expecting that that was going to happen, and to be honest with you, I'm very glad it did, which I'll talk about in a minute. As for the surgery itself, the doctor didn't come in that day. They typically wait until the next day to follow up with you, and they do like their rounds in the morning for the patients that had surgery. It could be at different hospitals, but at least that's how it's been in my experience with pretty much any surgery I've had, is that you don't typically see the doctor the day you had surgery, but they do come check on you the day after in the morning as they make rounds around the hospital. So in my situation, my doctor did come see me on Tuesday morning, and he did say that the surgery went very well. He said that this time around I hardly had any bleeding, which he was just honestly kind of, to this day, kind of in shock of. He like couldn't understand why it wasn't bleeding like it did the first time around, because I wasn't on blood thinners with my first surgery, and my left side was bleeding a lot more than normal. But for some reason this time around, he said it was not like that at all, and he was very happy with that. He did say, unfortunately, on the left side, he still wasn't able to get it in like the perfect position So my left jaw is slightly lower than my right jaw, which I will also touch base on here in just a few minutes. But he said other than that, the surgery went great. And you know, I was expected to have my mouth wired shut for about 6 weeks. So that's pretty much all he told me. And then I went home later that day, and pretty much my whole time that I had my mouth wired shut, I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not have any pain. I did not take any pain medication. I did not take any nausea medication. It honestly couldn't feel anything. And it's just totally different experience from my first surgery, because my first surgery, I did have my mouth rubber banded shut, and he put very strong rubber bands on my mouth. So anytime that I tried to talk, my teeth, because the bands were so tight, they would be pulling and putting a lot of pressure on my teeth. So with a broken jaw and putting that much pressure on my teeth, there was good days and there was some bad days where I was just in a lot of pain, or I'd have to ice my jaw if I did too much. Like for instance, I remember on Mother's Day, we had went and saw family, and of course, you know, I'm trying to talk to everyone, to be social, but that did strain my jaw a lot. So I remember I had to bag my jaw that day. I remember there was a lot of sleepless nights where I just couldn't sleep, couldn't get comfortable. I remember there was many nights I had to take pain medication just to try to get some sleep. But with this surgery, it was just totally the opposite. I did not experience any of that. When I compare the two, I would much rather, if I ever had to do this again, which hopefully I won't, but I would much rather have my mouth wired shut. Yes, the eating aspect is a downfall, but pain-wise and recovery-wise, I feel like just having your mouth more stable, and think of when you break your arm, you're wearing a cast. It's kind of like the same when your mouth is wired shut. It's just giving you that stability that your mouth needs in order to recover from just being broken. If you have any more questions about that, I'd be happy to answer, but there wasn't really much to update you day to day when I was recovering. I did take some photos, which I'll include. Maybe I'll pop them beside me while I'm talking. But there was nothing to really update you on day to day because nothing really changed. I felt great. I just couldn't talk very well. I learned to talk with my mouth wired shut over a period of time, but my children and my husband and, you know, people I know, they did struggle to understand me. But yeah, the only like downfalls of having your mouth wired shut is obviously it is harder to talk. So because of that, I did end up taking 6 weeks off from work because I do work in insurance. So of course, if a customer had asked me to call them, it would be difficult to try to explain coverages and go into detail about things when it's difficult to understand me. So thankfully I was able to take the full 6 weeks off from work. And also, obviously the eating, you strictly have to stick to a liquid diet when you have your mouth wired shut. There's just no other way around it. So for instance, there was one time I did try to blend up food. My family had ordered Chinese food and I was pretty desperate to want to eat. So I had tried to blend it in the blender, but I wasn't trying to make it like puree, like baby food, because I felt like that would freak me out. It just sounds disgusting. So I tried to blend it not as much, and it just didn't work out. Basically, when you have your mouth wired shut, you just have a tiny gap in the back of your teeth where stuff can go through. So when I tried to do the Chinese food, literally all the food just stayed in the front of my mouth and just wouldn't get where I could swallow the food. So I had to just rinse my mouth out with water and try to brush my teeth. And then I tried the same with a pasta dish with goulash, just something we make at home, and had the same experience. So I just, from those two things, I didn't really try anything else. So you just basically have to eat liquids. Now, if you're not picky, that may not be as big of a deal because there's a bunch of different things you could eat. There's different types of soups that are, you know, like cheddar broccoli soup, tomato soup. You know, you could eat chicken broth or beef broth or anything like that. For me, the only thing I really did eat was milkshakes. I did try to eat Jell-O and chocolate pudding, but even that was difficult. It just wasn't working out. I just really stuck to milkshakes for the 6 weeks. I did end up losing 17 pounds during the 6 weeks, which I was able to keep off. That's a plus, I guess. I'm not gonna complain about that. And I'm not gonna lie, when you do have your mouth wired shut, especially if you live with other people, you go through periods where you get like very desperate and kind of have like these ups and downs with your emotions when it comes to food, because for the most part I was fine. For me personally, it wasn't hard just to stick to what I was eating, but you know, there was a few times where I would just get really hungry, or I'd be smelling something that's one of my favorite dishes or something I loved, and you just so badly want to eat it, but you just can't. So it's just up and down, but you'll get through it. Just stay strong and just know that it's normal to experience that you know, you might have some good days and some bad days, or some good moments and some bad moments, but it goes by really quickly. So just hang in there. Or if you're in the process of recovering, you can do it. You got this. Before you know it, your mouth is going to be unwired and you'll start getting back to how you used to be. So food is just one of those things, you know. They say when you're hangry, I don't know if you ever heard that expression, but sometimes I used to work at a restaurant, and you get those people that are just so hungry that they're just angry, and then once they get their food, they're just like a totally different person. So that's how food can make us sometimes, especially when you're hungry and not getting the proper nutrition. Just hang in there. The time will pass. Luckily for me, I only had to have my mouth wired shut for 6 weeks. Sorry if my camera angle looks a little different. My camera stopped recording, so I had to reset it. So talking about food, I did get my mouth unwired the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. So on Thanksgiving, I wasn't able to eat any of the food that was cooked with my family, which is fine. So my sister actually had cooked me like a Thanksgiving meal, and she brought that over to me on Monday, knowing that on Tuesday I was going to get my mouth unwired. And I was thinking how great it was gonna be. I was so excited and really looking forward to it. So I went and got my mouth unwired, and then I came home, and it was honestly the most awful experience I've ever had with food. So basically what happened was, when they unwired your mouth, your jaw is still very sore, so you can't open your mouth that wide. And then also my chin and my lips are still numb. So when I was trying to eat like ham, for instance, which this is embarrassing, but I'm just gonna say it, just part of the recovery process, but like my bottom lip would like go in my mouth, and I was trying to eat a piece of ham, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, why can I not get this piece of ham in my mouth? And I was at first thinking it was because I couldn't open my mouth very wide, but then I realized it was my lip. So I could not fill my lip or determine my lip from a piece of meat, which is embarrassing, but like literally you just have no feeling. So I was trying to eat, my teeth were sore, I couldn't realize what was food and what wasn't food. So it was just not a good experience. I ended up having to use a mirror in order to see what I was doing, and I really didn't eat much that first meal that I was able to eat again. So just a heads up, it may not be the most enjoyable thing. I do recommend trying to eat with a mirror the first time you're eating after getting your mouth unwired, just so you can kind of like see what's going on. I know it sounds weird, but it's like even putting a fork in your mouth, it's like, where is my mouth? You know what I mean? Just because, like, am I hitting my teeth, or is my mouth open wide enough? It's kind of difficult to, not gonna lie. It's a very weird process to try to eat again. Of course, you're trying to learn a whole new bite, and you have to get used to all of that. Eating was difficult the first time. It's still kind of a learning curve, just because at first, you know, you just can't open your mouth that wide. So I still would like have to squish food to kind of make it flat, just to be able to kind of like fit it inside my mouth to eat it. And then you just have to learn to chew again, and then you just got to get your teeth to be stronger, your jaw to be stronger. So it's just a whole process. But you know, you just slowly, you stick to soft foods, and then you move your way up. Before you know it, then you'll be able to bite in food again. I'm still not there. Today is the middle of January, so I'm still not able to bite into food, but I just tear pieces off and then I can still chew. I can't eat anything hard still, but I can eat like hamburgers and things like that. I just have to break them off into pieces, and then that's pretty much it. Now, as it goes with how I'm feeling, so this whole area right here is still numb. It's definitely getting better because I can feel little tingles. Before I couldn't feel anything at all. But with my chin, a few different things, like it's tingly, which I think is a good sign that feeling is coming back. Also, sometimes I get like these random itches, like where my chin will be like itchy, but you can't relieve that feeling because you can't feel yourself scratching your face. So that's interesting. You just kind of like have to just hope it goes away very quickly because it is kind of like an annoying feeling. Also, I've noticed that if I spray perfume on, I feel like if like the perfume sometimes hits my face, I'll get this weird sensation from the perfume. And then also, I constantly feel like I have something on my face, like I have fluid on my face, like I'm drooling or something, or it's wet. I constantly am just like, okay, just making sure I'm good, you know what I mean? Especially when you're out in public. But when I was on my liquid only diet and I did eat the milkshakes, a lot of the times I would be drinking the milkshake, but for some reason it would like come down my chin and I wouldn't even know I had anything on my face until it got all the way like down to my neck because I still had feeling down here. So I'd be like, oh my gosh, my whole face is just full of a milkshake, you know what I mean? So I just have those feelings. And then also my bottom lip is getting a lot better, but it is still numb. And I will say my bottom lip is getting a lot better, but I will say for the longest time, it felt like my bottom lip was like super swollen. Like I had just gotten a fight, and as you can imagine, like someone's lips getting really swollen. That's how it felt, but it did not look that way. So if I would like go like this and fill on the inside, it just felt so weird. It's so hard to explain unless you like physically experience it. But it just felt like my lip was huge, but you would look in the mirror and it'd be completely normal. So that was interesting. It's the same as my chin. It's like a little tingly, but I don't have a lot of feeling in there. And the doctor did say because I had 2 surgeries back to back, it is going to take a lot longer for the filling to come back, if at all. So fingers crossed that it is going to come back. I have a feeling since it's the tingly and it has changed, that there's hope that it will come back eventually. I do remember with my first surgery, it took many months for the numbness to go away. So hopefully that will be the same, and over time it will continue to improve. So there's a few products that I do want to mention. When you go to the hospital, more than likely you will leave with a syringe and some type of tube. I don't know the correct name for this. So this is something that you will be eating liquids out of and also drinking out of. So basically why this is so helpful, it comes a lot longer, but you cut it to whatever length, and you're able to, even with your mouth wired shut or rubber band shut, you can stick this in between your lips to the back of your teeth so that you can eat and drink. So they will send you home with several of these, but just a note, because this happened to me on my second surgery. I had this one syringe and then they sent me home with a few extras. And after a while, this syringe started giving me a lot of issues where, like right now, it's just so, like I can't even get this out hardly without using like all my strength. And then also this little black piece kept coming off. So they just get a little worn after a while. So I went to go use my backups and I realized that my backups did not have this piece right here. It was one that screws and it attaches to other things. So basically they had given me the wrong syringes, and these are from the hospital. So, and my doctor is an hour and a half away. So I had to make this work, but after a while it just got very hard to, obviously when you have like this in your mouth and you're trying to push it, you know, it can be kind of dangerous, I should say, because you could like hit your gums or your incision or things like that. So make sure that they give you extra syringes and that they give you the correct syringes. Make sure before you leave, because I did not have any extras and I was just stuck with this one for 6 weeks, and it became a very big pain after a while. Luckily, towards the end, I started being able to drink with a straw. That helped, where I didn't have to use this anymore. But just beware and just take note that that's something that you need to make sure that you get the correct supplies when you're leaving the hospital, because you will need them. Also, what I highly recommend is I bought some of these bottles from Amazon, And I know that in my first video I did recommend getting condiment bottles, which those were helpful, but I didn't even know they had these. So scratch the condiment bottles by yourself. Some of these, I will link them in the description below. These are a game changer. These, you don't have to, you can hold them just this way and squeeze, and then the liquid will come out. You don't have to hold it upside down or anything like that. And these are very convenient because of the way that the nozzle is shaped. You can literally, you know, put it in your mouth and it will get to the back, your back teeth, and then you squeeze and you're good to go. So make sure you get some of these. The one I bought came in a pack of 2 and I use them every single day. Highly recommend. You need these bottles if you're having jaw surgery. They really do make a huge difference. And they're not very expensive either. I believe maybe they're like $10 or $15 for 2. So pick yourself up some of these. You want to be prepared before your surgery that you have everything and you're not waiting on anything to come in the mail. And then again, I did recommend this in my first video, but I'm going to recommend it again. It is this ThermiPaq, and basically it can get hot and cold. It has an insert that you can either heat in the microwave or put in the freezer, and it has this Velcro strap, and you put this on your chin, over your head, and you can leave it there to help with the swelling. You will have swelling with this type of surgery. I do highly recommend this too, because you will use it both ways. You can use it hot or cold, or if you want to get 2, and that way you can have both available depending on how much you swell or just whatever. They're not very expensive, but highly recommend this too. And this also you can get on Amazon. But for this surgery round, that's all I used. I didn't use the wedge pillow. I didn't use the one facial mask that I had bought in the first video. That was it. And that's all I needed, and that's what helped me get through recovery. Speaking of swelling, you do have swelling after surgery. It is pretty severe the first few days, and then it goes down over a period of time. I still feel like right here it feels a little swollen, but not worried about it. It will go down. Right here will be swollen as well. I didn't have any pain, but I did have swelling. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was these bad boys right here. When you leave the hospital, if you do have your mouth wired shut, you will be getting a pair of these. So make sure that your nurse gives them to you. These are scissors in case there's some type of an emergency or you start choking and you need to cut the wires so someone can help you in those types of situations. So these you have to have on you at all times. So make sure, mine almost got left behind at the hospital. That's just why I'm mentioning them here. But these scissors you will need. So don't leave those behind. If you see those laying around anywhere, make sure you stick those in your bag or check with the nurse and make sure those are the correct ones, because you never know what could happen. So going forward, my surgeon did release me from care. I'm no longer seeing my surgeon. After the 6 weeks, I haven't seen him since. He basically released me to my orthodontist care, and he told me, you know, basically I was done with his office. If I needed to come back for any reason, I could, but I was no longer seeing, or I am no longer seeing my surgeon. I'm only seeing my orthodontist, and I did recently talk to him about this side of my jaw not being in the right place per my surgeon, and he did calm me a little bit. He said that it is slightly off, but it's only half a tooth off, and I am wearing bands. I took them off so I could do this video, but I am wearing bands basically at all times of the day, and just with the bands, my teeth have moved. So I needed my teeth to move like half a tooth, and since my last visit, they've moved a quarter of a tooth, so I'm getting closer to where I need to be. And basically what happened is that my midline is slightly off, but I guess it's just like shifting my jaw more correctly so the midline will line up. So I'll take a photo and I'll kind of show you what he's talking about so it's better to understand. And then also I am gonna move the camera sideways and kind of talk so you can see how it looks from me talking from the side. It's hard to get an exact idea of how my teeth are gonna look once everything's done. The orthodontist did say I have about 6 months left of my braces, give or take, and I've had my braces on already for 30 months. So by the time I get them off, I will have been going through this entire process from start to finish for just about 3 years, which is crazy, but I am close to the finish line, so that's always a good thing. I am excited to get my braces off so I can start whitening my teeth and flossing again, and I will for sure when I get my braces off give you an update so we can see the final result together, especially for those that have been with me through this whole process or have watched my videos, you know, from start to finish, so you can see all the different things I've went through to get to this point. So I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in a little bit closer so I can show you how my bite is looking as of right now. So this is my side profile when I'm talking. I don't know if it's hard to tell, but I'm hoping that it doesn't come off that I look like I have an overbite anymore. And then same with this side, this is how it looks when I'm talking and if I'm laughing. So yeah, because I feel like when I used to talk, you could definitely see the overbite. And I took a family photo one time where I'm holding my daughter in the air and my teeth were just like so exaggerated, and I absolutely hate that photo of me. But I am gonna show it here just so you can get a better idea of how it used to look from my side profile when I laughed or I smiled. And then let me go ahead and just do a bite from this side as well. So this is Sky. Say hi.
Hi.
This is a little troublemaker. So how was it when Mom's mouth was wired shut?
She needed the mouth shakes because she can't eat food, and she had her mouth shut.
Did you like my mouth being wired shut? How did I talk? When my mouth was wired shut, how was I talking?
Like broccoli.
Like like broccoli?
Yeah, like a frog.
Oh, like a frog. Okay, good. So there you have it. I talk like a frog when I had my mouth wired shut. All right, well, I think that wraps up this video. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will see you hopefully when I get my braces off. Thanks for watching. Say bye.
Bye. See you later, broccoli.